we go. Okay. All right, year 14. Look at how tall we got. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Some people got like costume changes. Oh yeah, Tangent cut off all her beautiful spiral hair. Shit. Pick an activity. Tutor the children. I mean, that does give me the highest reasoning. 12 kudos? Still haven't figured out what kudos are for. I would love for my empathy to get higher. I actually want my animals to be the next thing I get. Oh yeah, look at these costume changes. Little hearts, I've never noticed those before. I like an enemy's jacket. She always had that? It's kind of see-through. Oh, you and A Money are practicing judo moves, chuckling with each other into semi-deflated poosh rooms which have been set up like mats. You're learning to throw, but you also fall properly without getting hurt. Great. Get fresh with A Money? Oh my god. A dollar sign. I know I wasn't very good at picking her nickname. Hopefully she'll forgive me. I don't know if I want to flirt with her. OM Get I cannot believe that. That's so good. Okay. I want to focus on learning this time. Or maybe do something funny. We're kind of fun. You yell cannonball and tuck into a ball for maximum bounce. A Money braces herself, but the shockwaves from your jump sends her high into the air. She can't stop laughing as your training dissolves into a game of how high you can bounce each other. You're technically still learning how to fall safety, you're just having fun while doing it. It's nice to hear her laughing like a kid again. Victorious! Oh, so close to getting my animals maxed out. It's your birthday! Oh, I forgot it was my birthday. You wake up from a night of blissfully peaceful dreams. Oh man, look at that angsty MySpace profile picture there. You stretch your arms over your head, blinking at the watery, quiet sunlight that sleeps through the porthole window. Things are always changing on Vertunma, but you can't help but feel like things are changing for yourself too. Not just your body, oh yeah, we started puberty, I forgot. But your mind, your emotions, your future. 14 is gonna be your year. Is it? Your parents have been working around the clock since the last attack, trying to get to the fields right again in time for this year's planting. Oh, yeah, I forgot we're starving to death. Sparks snow. has already started falling, and every day they come home complaining about having to clear it. They asked you to ping them when you're awake so you can share your birthday breakfast in your quarters instead of sitting shoulder to shoulder with everyone else in the canteen. Why would you doubt that it's going to be your year? Because every year has technically been my year, and I'm a teenager. Why trust any vibe I'm having ever? Antecedent. She sweeps into your room in a bustle of skirts and shawls and sits down beside you on your bunk. Oh, look at you, she says. Happy birthday, beautiful. 14 years old. She leans in and gives you a motherly kiss on the forehead. It's been years since she took care of you in the children's creche, but all of the kids still call her Auntie, and you think of her as a close relative. Her sweet baking bread smell is as comforting as it ever was. So cute. She sits back and takes one of your hands in both of hers. Solana, ever since I held you in my arms as a baby, I knew you were special, so important. You're becoming a young woman, and I want you to know you will always be here for you, just like your mom and dad. Why do they always gotta make it weird? Okay, enough with the mushy stuff. Thanks, Auntie Seaton. I don't want to grow up, Auntie. I'm just gonna thank her. I like the mushy stuff, but like they all make it so weird. She smiles and tucks an unruly lock of your hair behind your ear. I guess you're old enough to call me Aunt Anne now, if you like. Or even just Anne. Aw. Antecedents love. I love it. Now come on in here, Aunt Anne says, spreading her arms wide. Give us a great big hug. You hug her, enveloping yourself in the warm and familiar softness of her. Her shoulder, you see A Money standing in the doorway. Well, her hair anyway. She's been growing it out, and there's no hiding it behind a corner. She skips into your quarters. Happy birthday, bud. Blech, she says, bouncing on your bunk. Way to get older. Enjoy being 2 years older than me by a few months. It's good you're both here, Anne says. Now that you've both been menstruating for a year. A Money makes a face and mutters, yuck. The Anne continues. You're both eligible for the cessation implant, among other things. It will prevent the bleeding and pain from the emotional roller coaster of your monthly cycle. Mom, A Money hollers, gross. Do you have to tell everybody about my cycle? I just don't want to get pregnant, okay? That's really cute art. And her hair is absolutely bonkers. Anne laughs. Well, yes, that is among the other things part. But I don't expect you two to be needing that part for a few years yet, right? A Money looks disgusted by the prospect, or maybe just by her mom talking about it. Oh my god, so many opportunities to flirt with A Money. Maybe one day the two of us could. Huh? Eek, grossaroni. No. Oh, oh, oh. What's the matter? Are you scared, A Money? No, A Money exclaims, punching you in the arm. No, of course not. It's just super sucks that now everyone's talking about how I'm becoming a woman and how I'll finally look different than my brothers. Duh. There's some mysterious sandwich on the back of my hand. Excuse me. It's got very distracting. I was like, why does this still smell like sandwich in here? There's like mustard and mayonnaise all over the back. Also, I totally forgot that I put makeup on and I cried immediately before the stream and just smeared makeup everywhere. Oh boy. Okay. A Money points at you. Don't you start too. I'll kick your ass at sports ball even with cramps. Your parents finally arrive, still damp from the fields and bringing in the smell of crisp, tangy snow on their clothes. Oh, look, birthday visitors, your dad exclaims. Anne, are you staying for breakfast? Anne reaches into her bag and brings out a snack of Tiffin's. No, thank you, but I brought your order with me from the kitchen, seeing as I was stopping by. She pats your hand one more time. Happy birthday again, Solana. You will always be my baby, even when you're all grown up. I love her so much. Your mom shakes her head as Anne and A Money leave. Oh, Anne, she laughs, sentimental to the core. Yeah, shame you don't have an ounce of that. She only started giving a shit about us when we got our period and we started becoming a woman. Ugh. She starts laying out the cutlery for breakfast. But I don't know how the colony would manage without her in the children's creche, she says and points a fork at you. Family is more than the people that birthed you, Solana, and don't forget it. I can't. She raised me. You did it. I can't remember if we finished the full adventuring out here. I think I got almost to the end. Utopia is sorting through stuff that foragers have brought back, putting them into bins that have either get analyzed or taken straight to the kitchens. Hey, sweets, she says, not even looking up. You headed out? You and Dis take care of each other out there, okay? She sighs. I gotta get through all this before the day's end. It'll take me all day unless you're here and to help out. Sure. Utopia lays out an assortment of mushrooms. Alright, here's sample. Which one of these fellas is poisonous? Mushrooms? You got this. You know what kind of mushrooms are served in the canteen. It's easy to pick them out in the assortment. Are those edible? That doesn't look edible, I'm gonna be very honest. Great work, Sweets. When did she start calling me Sweets? Big smile on her face. You're a regular pig. Don't worry, that's a compliment. On Earth, they used to use pigs to sniff out buried mushrooms. Go out there and dig us up some, why don't you? She just called me a truffle pig? Finish up what you're doing here in the survey team, but come back next month and I'll put you in with the foragers. You'll be in the Valley of Vertigo. It's one of the best places to forage for wild berries and other edibles. Nice! Unlocked a new type of mission. Oh no, Dis, what's wrong? Dis and you, oh. Dis and you are surveying. Him and his sister look way more alike now than they did when they were children. Dis and you are surveying together, though he's mostly just throwing rocks at things and seeing what happens. Ugh, this is so boring. We've seen everything here already. The other surveyors are going to cool places like the Sequacious Swamp, places that are actually dangerous. I like the valley, but I think if I say that, he'll think I'm lame. And it's very important to me that Dis thinks I'm cool. We just have to wait until we're older. Yeah, Utopia says we're too young, Dis grumbles. What does she know? She's barely older than we are. Utopia's the youngest adult in the colony, but she's still an adult, and she makes the rules. Dis goes back to chucking rocks and complaining. We're here all the time, even though we know everything about it. Utopia says we need to come back every year and take new readings. And quiet here in the pollen in the valley, and we have to be patient because we can't just take stuff without letting nature replenish itself. And I mean, I get it, but it's still so boring. I want to explore other places. He's boring. Cluster, crystal, crystal, cluster. collecting stuff in the woods. Okay, I think this is where we got last time and just couldn't finish it. Because it was like, oh, you're too tired, you have to go home. You hear Dis shouting from a nearby, come quick and look at this. You meet up with Dis on a curiously clean part of the path. There are no twigs, pebbles, bits of grass, or the ubiquitous Dorbs moth scales that litter this area. It almost looks like it's been swept clean, and there, in the middle of the perfect circle 3 meters wide, is what only could be described as a shrine. A hollow, waist-height structure made from twigs and packed spark snow forms a centerpiece, and around it deliberately placed piles of colorful fruit, flowers, and glittering stones like an offering. Stake it out and wait. Doing that, I'm good at perception. Strong. Boom. Victorious! You hang out for hours but don't discover anything except how boring this idea was. Dis takes a nap. You're almost falling asleep and something shuffles into the clearing. It's a bush bub. It crawls slowly down the path. It stops to pick up a pot flower. It stops to pick up a stone, and then it arrives at the shrine. It carefully places the flower in the pile of flowers and the stone in the pile of stones. It repositions it. You wonder if the creature is somehow religious, or if it's trying to attract a mate with the little show of decor. You don't know much about the animals that live here. That's very true. But we have Squish. That should tell us everything we need to know. -2 to neighboring cards. Wow. Win! Oh shit. Maxed out my stress. Oh, so close. I thought for sure I'd get an animal bar. Now, if I remember correctly, there was a new type of stress relief. that we got last time. We can hang out with this nerd, or this nerd, I think. I am stressed out. Oh, Cal is standing in the garden watching a pair of door sloths flutter ahead. They're the worst, he says, frowning. We gotta find a better place to put the grain, because they get in there everywhere. You'd be surprised what kind of hole they can squeeze through. Yes, I know I need some time off. I can't remember which time off options I have. Ah, yes, relax in the park. Your mom is tending to her garden as you relax nearby. You're both happy to leave each other alone, but you can hear her muttering to herself as she pulls weeds. Every day, she grumbles. You'd think I was never here at all, which is how some of these weeds grow. I thought that bringing only nice plants would mean we wouldn't have to weed as much, but these vermin plants are unstoppable. She pulls hard on one weed, which turns out to be a huge creeping vine that yanks out a few flowers. Ugh! I just want one place in this planet that's ours. My mom is a really stressful person, but this feels like a nice attempt to maybe connect with her. Ask her more about Earth. It was like this place, but a lot worse. She sits back on her heels and wipes her face. Hot summers, cold winters, storms, wildfires, smog, radiation. Weeding was the least of our problems, honestly. That's why I wanted this place, something that would remind us of the Earth that was. Your mom dumps a huge armful of weeds into a wheelbarrow. These go all the way to the edge of the colony, she says wearily. Whatever plant these roots belong to, they're invading my garden. She turns towards the walls and yells, "You stupid pink bastards, stay out there where you belong." I'll get rid of my stress cry. That was awful. Relaxation options are to relax in the park, which we just did. Relax on the walls, cool. Relax in the creche. Get fresh with any money. You can hear your dad sneezing all the way from engineering. It's explosive, like he's trying to scare away the predators. He's wiping his nose as you approach, on a handkerchief blotted with shimmering pink. Ooh, again? Lately, he's also surrounded by a fine dusting of pink pollen that clings to him wherever he goes. You keep brushing the glitter off the things in your quarters. He gives you a hug, then brushes pollen off your shoulder, laughing self-consciously. I feel like he's got like some sort of like pink fungus that's gonna kill him. You haven't heard him laugh much lately. He's been working hard trying to improve the colony's food supply. He's showing signs of malnourishment too, though your mom is worse. You're worried for both of them. Your dad's skin is kind of shiny in patches, and he sees you staring and rubs his hands over his arms. Sparkling dust poofs off of him in little clouds, scintillating in the light. "Oh yeah, that's my new symptom," he says. "Seems harmless, though." "You should keep wearing your mask. And hide this beautiful face?" Your dad laughs, rubbing his nose. "Especially now that it sparkles?" He makes a big show of checking his pockets. I guess I must have left my respirator at the greenhouse. Why can't he just take care of himself?" Your dad sniffles. "Gosh, I feel like someone stuffed a whole potato up my nose. Like I could just poke a stick up there and pop fresh potato juice. Ugh, Dad, gross." He grins. "What? It's true." You follow his gaze out to the fields and to the lands outside the gate. I wonder if the foragers could use an extra hand, he muses to himself. Maybe I'll join them out there tomorrow. Neither of your parents is taking proper care of themselves. They're so stressed out from a poor harvest and low food supply. They try not to let you see it, but you can tell. Maybe your dad is right. A little seasonal illness is nothing compared to the danger of running out of food. Maybe. Let's go out to that new region, shall we? Oh, it doesn't help me with animals, though. Gives me perception. No. Perception and biology. Lame. Nah, I'll just fight A money. You've heard Security Chief Rhett is on the lookout for lookouts. That is, for kids to chill out on top of the walls all afternoon and count Xeons. Sounds way better than going to class. He gives you one silver, eyes narrowed. All right, he says, look over there at the end of the field. What does that sign say? Bitch? I have eagle eyes? You can read the sign easily. It says, if you can read this, your eyesight is 20/20. Huh, that's a weird sign. What does it mean? He nods in approval. Good, you pass. Come back next month and I'll put you on the roster. Nice. I will. You're at lunch with your parents, sliced soy cakes and watery broth again. Great. When they put down their cutlery and look at each other, and then you, Solana, your mom says, there's something we should tell you. We've tried to shelter you from some things, but we think you should know we've been working so hard in the geophonics. There's a meeting after lunch, and we want you to come. Okay. You follow your parents to the council room. Mars has also tagged along, and you take a seat near them as your mom and Aunt Anne stand to address the council. After etiquette officially calls the meeting, she gestures to your mom. I'm not going to mince words, your mom says firmly. All of our efforts to increase food production in geophonics have failed, especially given the failure of the pixie beans. The destruction of the fields during the last attack put a nail in our coffin. By the end of the year, the colony will run out of food. The rest of the council murmurs in concern. You and Mars exchange horrified looks. You've been doomsdaying about our food supply for 2 years, Falulu. Rhett questions. Do you mean to say we're past a point of no return? Oh shit, when did my mom get... Oh, has she always had the shovel? Your mother nods grimly. I'm afraid so. Even with rationing, without securing of intermittent food source, our supplies will run out by wet season. She gestures to Anne, whose face is grave. Anne and I have gone over the supplies and come up with food plans. We've crunched the numbers. Your mom sighs and spreads her hands. I'm sorry. Geophonics should have been producing better by now. We should have been able to wean ourselves off of soy rations. During wormhole transit, when we lost geophonics in the whole breach, she sighs again. I know I've said it so many times, but our crops just won't grow here. We needed those algae tanks, and we needed the microbial soil from Earth. I don't want to say anything. I hate that they force you to say stuff. Why weren't we told earlier? Adults screw everything up. It's my mom's fault. I'm gonna ask, why weren't we told earlier? Oh shit, I hadn't seen Mars's glam up. Wow. Yeah, Mars agrees. Why weren't we told? We have a right to know. We live here too. She stands up and slams her hands on the table. We've been here for 4 years and we could have been helping this whole time, and all you did was have meetings about it. The council looks at Mars with surprise and then contempt. Etiquette chuckles weakly. I imagine being carried for so long and being upset that your feet could not be cut by the rocks. She waves a shaking hand. Seeing the future is the privilege of youth. Thank goodness we have them to point out our flaws. Mars sits back down, confused by Etiquette's words, but fuming at the dismissive tone. So what do we do now? Instance asks. Starving to death isn't an option. Well, it seems like the only one. No, it isn't, your mom replies. We need to secure a food source this year before our rations run out. We're working double shifts in geophonics, but it's not enough. We need more people planting, tending, turning the soil. We need more hands. I can pull back the surveyors and focus on foraging native plants, Utopia offers. Even the young folk can help. They've proven themselves around the survey equipment, and I'll get the hollow message later. This has been a burden of genophonics for too long, Etiquette says. It's time we all step up for the future. The council nods in agreement. Your stomach rumbles ominously. New perk, equipped in additional gear. Yay, that's what I wanted. Plus 10 combat, plus 2 to strength challenges. That's kind of amazing. Or an in general plus 1 to all challenges. I really don't need the plus 10 to combat, honestly. Geophonics. The mood in geophonics is tense. Everyone is working themselves to the point of exhaustion, trying to get enough plants in the ground to survive the year. Why is my toughness down? Oh, we're starving. Shit. Guess I'm gonna study biology. I mean, my next best perk is reasoning, it looks like. You show up to class to find congruence teaching a classroom of younger children. Instance is nowhere to be found. In the absence of further direction, you settle in to help the students with their work. Oh good, you're already here. I trust you'll be able to handle yourself in all the subjects with the students of all ages. Ask congruence if you need help. Thank you, Solana, she says quietly. Aww. Since Professor Hal died, well, congruence and myself are poor replacements for him, and I'm grateful to you. Ah, children doing children stuff, blah blah blah. Oh my fucking god. Beautiful little baby child. It's so cute. Some understand less than others. Oh, her name is their name is Nougat. Why do we gotta read about stuff? Nougat whines, poking dejectedly at her holocron. The skin around her newly implanted holopalm looks a little red, and she keeps picking at it. I want to go play. Uh-oh. You take a closer look at Nougat's holopalm implant. The edges where it meets the skin are peeling back, and it looks red and puffy. No wonder she's having a hard time. It looks like it really hurts. You take her to medbay and put some antibiotic cream on it and wrap her hand so she can stop picking at it. She's excused from this lesson until her implant heals properly, so you spend time with her showing her how your own holopalm works. The quiet environment of the med bay seems to help her concentrate, and soon she's zipping through Congruence's archives on her own. Aww. Oh shit. I can't beat this. Dang, okay, I'm gonna give up, I guess. You didn't work very well this month. Shucks. Well, let's do it again. Actually, let's go forage. I don't think we foraged yet. Oh, that's right, it's perception and biology. How useless. We'll give her a go anyway. Eggy! Utopia greets you warmly as you muster for your first expedition at the foraging team. So, Lana, I'm glad you could make it. We need everyone we can out here right now, boosting our food supplies. I'm ready to sniff out those tasties. Good luck hunting out there, she says. Use your holopalm to identify edible and medicinal plants and just throw them in here. I'll sort them at the base camp. Oh, and keep on the lookout for creatures. It's pretty peaceful out here in the valley, but even a little bug will get you if you're not careful. Go slow, pay attention, and if you're unsure about something, don't approach it. Oh my god, I can hit on Utopia? Any questions? Will Dis be with me? What sort of things should I collect? Is it dangerous out there? Fine lady like you doing in a... Ugh. What sort of things should I collect? Utopia shows you there's a lot of what we haven't found yet. Document anything you find that looks like it could be useful. Even if it looks edible, it might be a lookalike. The plants are sneaky. What? You're about to leave when Utopia snaps her fingers. Hold up, Solana. We're also investigating some species we might domesticate. Those we'll want to tag and capture. Ideally, we're looking for herbivorous creatures that already live in herds, and either produce something edible or reproduce quickly enough we can slaughter them for meat. If you see anything that fits the bill, tag them and bring them back. Well, I'm not letting any of us eat squish. I can't leave. Oh, down. Creepy. I get it. Look, a squish! Vriki are carnivores, you think, but the juveniles are so small to take out anything larger than an insect. Not so much the case with this one. This Vriki blocking your path is large, probably about as tall as your waist, and growling at you over the carcass of something bigger, which seems to be missing its head. Yuck! You're not sure if it killed or scavenged the dead animal, but it's dragged it onto the path and looks ready to fight you for it. I kind of just want to watch it eat it. But the most logical feels like finding another route. I'm gonna wait for it. You back off and wait. It sits there and gnaws at the animal slowly for hours. It's disgusting. Eventually it rolls over and takes a nap, its many legs kicked up into the air as it's tumbly gurgling. You try to sneak by it, but it wakes up with a hiss. It drags the rest of the carcass into a tree, and you can finally pass. Jesus. How do I get over there? Well, that's disturbing. How did I tame... Oh my god, another? Your path is blocked by a massive 8-legged zeofauna, something between spider and a squid and a bear. It's large. It's in a rage, grunting furiously and bashing itself against trees and rocks at random. You duck and hide as it glares in your direction, its breath heaving dozens of gleaming eyes in madness. It's the same soft pink and purple you recognize from the multi-legged Vriki that live in this area, but larger. Could it be a related species? Its gaze drops from you to your pet Vriki. Squish! who chitters and runs up to it, waving its grasping tentacles. The gigantic creature huffs and leans down to sniff at it, its rage forgotten. I need an empathy 20 or greater to sing to it. I'm gonna let it sniff my pet. If it eats Squish, I'm gonna literally quit. The larger creature makes a chuffing noise like a tiger, a brassy, vibrating exhale that ruffles your Vriki's fur. Content it's not going to eat Squish, you keep track and let them introduce themselves. Squish isn't intimidated in the slightest. In fact, it seems totally relaxed in the presence of this hulking beast. They touch tentacles and sniff each other, and your Vriki even curls up in the bigger one's arms for a while. Wait, they look like their parent and child. Is this another life phase for the Vriki? After a while, the huge Vriki leaves harmlessly. You're happy your little buddy got some social time with their own species. Aww. Cute. Go this way. Oh, Eggy. Eggy, Eggy. Oh, you come out of the trees into a large grassy clearing. In the middle is well, you can only describe it as a pedestal. In the middle of a cradle of flowers sits a massive egg, easily larger than any egg you've seen before. It's white with red flecks and is just sitting there in the middle of an empty clearing, totally unprotected. I'm gonna take it. You put one foot on the pedestal to brace yourself. This thing is huge. However, as you do, the pedestal starts moving and it starts growling. Its flowering appendages to reveal the face of a manticore. It narrows its feline eyes at you and rumbles a warning as it stands to its full, terrifying height. You figured out where the egg came from. With your arms full of egg, you can't really fight. Your choices are limited. Fight the manticore is impossible. I have some of these eggs, which is like really concerning. I don't want to throw the egg. Keep the egg and run. Oh boy. Guess I'm stealing a manticore egg. Oh, it's only -2 to yellow cards. Interesting, okay. Oh my god, we did it. We stole a manticore egg. You stumble blindly through the clearing towards the relative safety of the trees, the cumbersome egg blocking your view of your own feet. You fall a few times just to barely manage to scramble out from under the claws of the manticore. You eventually find a member of the Expeditious Protection Squad who fires a warning shot with their plasma rifle over the manticore's head. It roars in defiance and slinks into the trees. The egg's pretty addled up from all of the running and falling, but if it was going to hatch before, it certainly won't now. Sad! You get a shipment of kudos for it, and it's super tasty. We ate it! By golly gee willikers, that's disgusting. So many eggs. Whoa, what is that? Baba fruit. You're alone, exploring an unmapped area of the Valley of Vertigo. The pollen is thick here, and the air filter is overworked. A warning light has been flashing for the last 10 minutes, and why didn't I start walking back? There are plants here that you've never seen before, flowers with intense rainbow hues and strange lumps of fungal matter which pulse as if they're breathing. You cut some samples. Utopia will totally give you extra kudos for these. The pollen is especially thick ahead, deep fuchsia and shimmering with color. Everything here seems to dance with tiny flecks of reflected light. It's kind of magical. Press forward. You push forward into the suffocating pink fog. It's so thick you can only see a few meters ahead. You follow the glimmering towards where it's densest. You come upon a glade with what seems to be strange topiaries. They loom out of the glittering fog, each in the shape of an animal. They're all formed of the same spongy, glittering peak substance that dotted the finger-length fungal growths. You're so distracted you almost fall into a large hole at the center of the glade. Inspect the topiaries, take samples of the fungus, look into the hole, leave. I'm going to check for danger. You've seen the plant-like animals before. These topiaries are actually predators waiting for you to get close. You watch them carefully from the edge of the glade. They're completely still, not breathing. There's no life signs. Good. Your envirosuit beeps a warning. Inspect the topiaries. The topiary you choose is a large dog-sized quadruped which appears to be kneeling. It's far too lifelike. As you get close, you realize with growing revulsion that this was once a living creature, now encased and transformed entirely into the sparkling pink fungus. It is dead. You remember helping Tange for extra credit in biology class. She said that the shimmer is a seasonal illness that affects your dad and pollen, some kind of colonizing fungal growth. Could this be related? Take a sample. As you bend down to take a sample, you realize the dense shining haze is coming from the topiaries. The fog is seeping out of the holes at the end of each fungal growth. You break off one of the new growths into a collection vial. The more you think about it, the more you're sure this is related to shimmer. I'm not looking in that hole. Should I look in the hole? Are we brave? I don't want to risk it. We're just going to leave. As you turn to leave, your flitter light begins flashing red and alarm sounds inside your helmet. You realize with horror that you've been in the dense pollen too long. We are only one tick of brave. You start sneezing as the sparkling dust seeps into your breathing mask. It feels like tiny knives in your sinuses, a heavy choking pain in your lungs. You lurch back towards the checkpoint, barely able to breathe. Your helmet is so clogged that you don't think air is getting in at all. You can see it clearly as if it's in a vision. If you take your mask off, surely you will be able to breathe better. Something in your terrified brain clings to the idea. If you just take off your mask and breathe in the pollen, you'll be fine. Everything will be fine. What the fuck? I'm gonna keep my mask on. I can't tell if it's worse. I don't want to breathe the pollen. No, keep it on. No, don't go gently into the pink night. You're hyperventilating. You can't get enough oxygen through your clogged filter. Darkness closes in the edge of your vision until you're seeing the world as if through a long tunnel. As you near the checkpoint, Utopia runs to help you. You instinctively turn back, unthinking, wanting to return to the fog and the strange statues. You collapse in her arms. Several days later, you wake. You don't remember much, just a great choking heaviness in your lungs and the world swallowing you up and closing over your head. You have snippets of conscious thought from the last few days, but it's hard to tell if it was a dream. Creepy. You remember I lost 5 toughness, gained injured. You remember Tammy sitting by your bedside, her cool hand on your forehead. But she's dead. That part had to have been the dream. You feel like you had a fever once, hot and sticky, achy all over. You've been boiled alive. You're still terribly weak and there's a pain in your chest like someone's been sitting on it. It takes all of your energy to breathe, but you live. Your body took a serious hit and you may never be the same. But what about Shimmer? Did I do the thing? Breaking a chemical bond both requires and releases energy. Whichever one is greater determines whether it is an exothermic or endothermic reaction, Tange says, tapping her fingers against the laboratory table. I wonder if there are similar classifications from the bonds between family are broken and new ones are created with others. She sighs. Chief Engineer Instance is the closest I have to what a family is supposed to be. Want to study together? You and Tangent sync your holopalms and play together, where you race to assemble chemical compounds using simple programming language. You can tell she's hiding a smile when she looks over your shoulder to help you with a particularly tricky algorithm. Tangent is deep in conversation with the other scientist. She seems to be consoling her, though Tangent's face betrays no emotion as she claps her on the shoulder and reassures her that she's doing really well for someone so young, and that everyone compromised some of their samples when they were first learning. He leaves and Tangent sighs as she goes to put her heads in her hands, stopping short when she realizes she's still wearing gloves. She peels them off and digs her fingers into her eyes. What's up, Tange? Tange grimaces. Just great. Well, I compromised an experiment I was working on because the vent was still open and I was spraying the workstation down with sanitizer. She sniffs. It's so gross here. I probably did the fungus a favor. Tangent takes a bottle of sanitizer from under her workbench and cleans while she speaks. There are pollen spores everywhere, she whines, and he comes over here and tells me, it'll be okay, Tange, like it's his job to console and patronize me. But it is okay to make mistakes. Tangent shoves the sanitizer back under the workbench. Don't you understand? She says, frustration seeping into her voice. If we ever feel the pain of failure, there's no cost to it. Why would we ever improve? I need to own my mistakes. What I don't need, she continues icily, is someone to pat me on the head and tell me it's okay and that the adults will make it all better. I messed up. Just let me fix it. Don't make a big deal about it. Like I'm a child with a boo-boo. Okay. Injured. You're injured and should rest. Fine. Most of the time, you're alone up here except for the occasional passing guard, but sometimes you're joined by Dis. He barely looks up at you as you pop down and kick your feet through the railing and over the edge. He looks like he's drooling on his hollow pad. Oh, doodling. He's doodling on his hollow. What is happening here? Hello. He looks like he's doodling on his holopad, and you see all sorts of plants, mushrooms, little creatures. He looks like quite the junior botanist. He's not drawing plants right now, though. He's actually drawing a person, and not anyone you recognize. They have long dark hair and a pointed face and are covered from neck to toe in floaty black robes. They look neat. You wonder if they're Dis's original character. Like a super cool goth self-insert. That looks nice. Dis smiles shyly and looks away from his drawing. Thanks, I'm not very good at drawing him yet. Who? Ooh, do I want to forget discovering or pink candy? It would be nice to forget that I got candy for Tammy and I never got to give it to her. But we'll forget discovering for now. It's time for Venturnalia, this year's midsummer celebration when the colony gives thanks for its good fortune. Well, it would be, but as you file into the main square, you can't help but notice the feast table is empty. What Anne lacked in resources, she made up for with care. The dishes are lovingly plated, soy cakes glisten, steam rises from buns stuffed with mince, and there are great pitchers of vegetable broth rendered out and even the most inedible food scraps. There's a neat stack of sugar cubes for dessert. Whole sugar, what a luxury. It's an underwhelming feast. Governor Etiquette's welcoming speech this year is short. Her frail body trembles as she welcomes you all with a dry, whispery voice, and she must be helped off stage. Like all of you, she's feeling the effects of the famine. Everyone clears away the chairs for the annual competition. Which do you participate in this year? Hell no, participation is for joiners. I mean, I could participate in the pentathlon again. But I am recently recovered from pushing myself, so maybe we'll just watch. Join your parents in the stands for the talent show. After the festivities, the whole colony takes a few days off for a break. We'll accept the geophonics and the foragers and the kitchens and everyone who uses their break from their usual work to help out in the places that don't close. But you try to take it easy anyway. Well, I didn't need to relax then. Lame. Okay. Let's see if we can't get that reasoning tick. Tutoring the children. Tangent and Chief Engineer have been hard in the lab trying to find a cure for shimmer. Perfect. I hope the samples I brought them helped. You join them in their research. They're the one who found the sample of shimmer and the fungus that analyzed it. You're the one whose father suffers the most from it. You confirm that shimmer is an airborne fungal disease and that thick, choking spores and pollen are the same fungi from the Valley of Vertigo, the ones that colonize the hosts and turn their bodies into spore-producing fungus. You try inoculations, antibiotics, antifungal creams, but what finally works is high-intensity light treatment, mimicking a full force of the sun's during dusk, coupled with an injection to increase its potency. Of course, Tange exclaims, the fungus colonizes animal life during pollen. Some succumb to it, but the intense light of dust scourges the fungus from the survivors. It's all part of a natural cycle. The treatment works on samples, now to test it on a subject. Test it on yourself, test it on an animal, or test it on your dad. I mean, it feels wrong to pick who to test. Oh shoot, our camera's been in the wrong section this whole time. Sorry, everyone. Can't even see what I've been doing. I think we should test it on an animal first. Oh god, I hate this. Ethically, I don't agree with any of these. Ah! The little hop-eye blinks up at you with your four giant, trusting eyes. Can you really subject it to experimental therapy? You lock the hop-eye in a sealed cage and pump the fungal spores in. Within a few hours, its skin is oozing with shimmering dust. It begins to throw itself repeatedly against the plexiglass cage, the fungus on its brain forcing it to go outside and spread its colonizing spores. You move the poor creature to the light therapy machine and fire it up. It emerges a few hours later, blinking warily and looking much healthier. Dr. Instance takes its vitals and runs samples of the fluids through various machines. She's excruciatingly thorough, but after a few days she concludes that this treatment was a success. The hop-eye still carries a high fungal load, but its effects have been nullified by the light therapy. Remarkable, Instance says, going over your findings. Now that we have a frontline therapy, we can begin treating the population to prevent the fungal growth from taking hold. Oh, look at the two of them. The shimmer cure. She looks over at Tange. Solana's discovery will be one of great help with our research. You expect Tangent might be cross that you got credit, but she nods, looking pleased. You're just thankful that no one was killed, not your father or anyone else. The colony is safe from Shimmer. Yay! Oh, I'm so happy. Oh no. Oh no, we're not gonna make this one. Will this undo how many people get cured? I think I'm gonna allow the fail. Darn it. Mid dust, late dust. Tutor the children. You're helping A Money with her math assignment. Ugh, A Money groans, rubbing her hands down her face. Look at her crying. I hate this. I don't want to do any more math. Other kids like you get to choose what they do all day now, but I'm stuck here learning stupid literal algebra. It's linear algebra, but you don't correct her. I'm only here because my mom told me I gotta take more math and science classes. She says if I want to do anything except play sports ball all day, I need to know stuff. Joke's on her, I only want to play sports ball. You're right, math is dumb. I'm not gonna say that. Math is more important than sports ball. I'm not gonna say that either. A Money sticks her bottom lip out and looks away, crossing her arms. Fine, but only because it's you and not because my mom told me to. A few hours pass and you're not sure A Money is better at algebra, but at least you earned your kudos. Done diddy did it. Whoop, the wet. Dad sneaks you a crumpled up soy ration bar from his pocket. Here, have this. I didn't finish it at lunchtime and I'm not hungry. You know it's a lie, but you eat it anyway. You're just so hungry. You help your dad with the animals. Your dad is working with some float cows. One of them is sick and isn't producing enough urine as ballast, and it keeps wanting to float away. Your dad is building a spike so he can tie it down until she feels better. Aww. You hold onto the leash, feeling like a little kid with a balloon, a big, woolly, gassy balloon. It looks down at you with placid, unblinking eyes. You see yourself refracted in them. Neat. should have known better, Tangent, you hear as you walk past the laboratory. Curious, you listen at the door. Chief Engineer Instance sighs. I know you meant well, but your presumption has cost us 3 months of work. You can't simply look at an experiment and change the parameters to your liking. Getting results is not the same as doing good science. Your findings, however scientifically interesting, are useless to us without sound methodological underpinnings. Tange's response is more subdued than you ever heard her. I'm sorry, Chief Engineer, she mumbles, looking down at the floor. I recognize the error of my ways. I don't know if I believe that. Tange is kind of, ballsy a bitch. I should hope so, Instance replies, pinching the bridge of her nose. I expect you in the lab first thing tomorrow morning. I will personally supervise your work in resetting the experiment. You flatten against the wall as Instance breezes past you, barely giving you a second look as she strides down the hallway. You poke your head inside the laboratory where Tange scowls and wipes her eyes. What do you want? It'll be better the second time around, Tange. Tange nods. You're right. The first experiment was plagued by inefficiencies, she says, pushing herself off the lab bench. That's why I changed it in the first place. In the new experiment, I can eliminate those efficiencies from the start. Thank you, Solana. You may have saved me 3 months of work. Losing the data was my fault, Tange continues. I wanted to prove that I'm not a little kid from biology class, that I'm ready to work hard and make really great discoveries. Dr. Instance has always been there for me when I was a kid, and now with my mother gone, she's the only adult in this colony who sees what I could become. Wait, what happened to their mom? She believes that I can be better than what I am. You will. Tange hums in agreement. I certainly hope so. Dang it. +2 bonus to pairs. Oh, so close. The runs only go in one direction. Oh. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Oof. It's time for your end of term project. You, Tange, and Cal are all ready to prove that you're capable scientists. Seeing as everyone works together in the colony, you're expected to come up with a project that the three of you can agree on. You can already tell that's going to be a problem. We should do a genetics experiment, insists Tange. I have access to the lab around the clock, and I'm already here every day. It'll be simple to come up with an experiment of something I'm already working on, and efficient, the perfect choice. Hal considers. I don't know. Lab work is only half of the picture, you know. I think we should do geophonics for some hands-on biology. Mimir is almost ready to give birth, and she had trouble during the last calving. I think he's talking about a float cow. We should volunteer to monitor around the clock and document the process. Then we can help deliver the calf. Tange looks disgusted. Absolutely not, she sneers. I'm not getting my hands all up in some float cow's guts just because you want to play farmer instead of scientist. She pokes her finger into Cal's chest. What are your data points, your hypothesis? Do you have a control group? Where's the science, Cal? You aren't better than others just because you work indoors, Cal snaps. It's so rare to see someone actually get under his skin. Every day I live and breathe biology, genetics, medicine, ecology, just like you. Science isn't just about doing experiments. Observation is important too, as is compassion and empathy. When every member of the class that does all the work in a group project is assigned to a single group. So true. They both look at you. What do you want to do? I can't propose a third option. I have to pick. We can do a genetics experiment or report on animal husbandry, which is the same thing. Could be the same thing. I'm going to choose the animal husbandry because I think it will have the most immediate benefit to the colony. I hope Tange isn't mad at me. I'm glad you see things my way, Cal says. He has the look of someone who's trying not to be smug, but he isn't quite making it. Dang it. I suck. Man, I'm giving up a lot lately. You, Tange, and Cal pour over everything in your final project you handed in. Is this it? Instance laughs, scrolling through the hollow pad containing your findings. Honestly, expected much better from you, especially from you, Tangent. Ouch. Tange goes red and refuses to talk to you for the rest of the day. That sucks. Well, I got my reasoning. Blue cards get a +1 in mental challenges. Thank fuck. Look out duty. 3 perception. Jeez Louise. Goodness gracious. Hey, Squirt, your mom calls to you. Don't you think it's time to get started thinking about what you're going to do with your older? You look at her in confusion. She isn't always telling you to stay in school. She chuckles. You gotta think about it sometime, kid. How about you come join your folks on the farm if you're up for it? I don't think I want to work on the farm. Okay, I'm ready. Your mom claps you on the back. Oof, she's as strong as she looks. Great, she says. Come see me in the geophonics when you're ready to start. It'll be more fun reeling the dirt around, I promise. What butts? It's been 3 seasons of heavy food rationing, getting more and more strict as the year dragged on and the fields continue to struggle. You've been wasting away, you all have. It's not just the lack of calories, there isn't enough vitamins and good stuff in the food you're eating. Your muscles ache all the time. Sometimes you feel strangely euphoric, filled with inexplicable energy, but it often feels like there are weights tied to your shoulders pulling you down. You're tougher than most, but you still have trouble sleeping despite being tired all the time. You spend a whole day in a dazed fog. It's hard to tell dreams from reality. Last week you were brushing your teeth when you noticed some of your teeth were wiggling. You brushed and watched all of your teeth begin to fall out of your mouth, clinking into the sink like pebbles and washing down the drain. Horrified, you started screaming, only to snap out of it and realize you're staring at yourself in the mirror the whole time, lost in the hallucination. Your friends stop working and retreat to their quarters. You lie to each other on the holonet, all saying you're okay, just taking it easy, waiting for the harvest. The harvest came and went, and it's as meager as ever. Your mother still hasn't given up, and she never rests, never stopped working, and as much as your dad begs her to, she must be sleeping in geophonics because you hardly see her in the family quarters anymore. From where you lie nestled in your cozy bed in a fugue, all seems like a far, far effort to bother with. Save your strength. Help your mom in geophonics. I'm gonna save my strength because, like, I'm maxed out stress. You don't waste energy. You spend a lot of time on the holoweb watching movies, so you have to fast forward through the scenes where they eat. Your dad comes home late, and the nights your mom doesn't come home at all. Both of your parents feel responsible for the famine, but the head of geophonics, your mom, takes it personally. She's been skipping meals, relying on water and pressed soy bar rations, just enough calories to keep the body moving, not enough to stay healthy. She never lets up working herself to the bone, barely sleeping, increasingly sallow-eyed and gaunt. You and your dad try to slow her down, but she's a stubborn woman. You and your dad are in the lounge, slowly sipping your vegetable broth when there's a commotion at the door. Someone's run in, gasping for breath, yelling for you and your father to come to geophonics. You run over, knowing a deep pit in your stomach that something terrible has happened. When you see the faces of the agriculturists, your mom's people, you know that feeling is real. Your dad sees her body first. He lets out a cry like something you've never heard before, a deep, unimaginable pain dragged up from the darkest parts of where fear lives. Your dad falls to his knees beside the frail body of your mother. He pulls her into his arms and sobs, wretched and agonized. I didn't see that one coming. You don't even know what to think. Your mom always seemed larger than her body, but seeing her now, there's nothing there. She's just a fragile shell. Did I just kill my mom? Should I have helped her in geophonics? They tell you that she didn't even cry out. She just went to her knees and lay down in the dirt, and that was it. Your mother's body is taken to the incinerator room, and that night the colony gathers to pay their respects. Like Tammy's funeral, the incinerator room has been cleared and a wreath of flowers placed over the mouth of the organics recycler. They're white as Stranger, your mother's favorite flower, carefully carried from earth in the hopes of it flourishing. You stand with your father and Aunt Anne. Etiquette and the rest of the council are here as well, including Rhett. You're surprised to see tears rolling down his face, such a hard ass in the garrison. Cal is here with all the other agriculturists. The rest of the colony waits in the canteen. Shit. Governor Etiquette gives the eulogy. As a colony, we share our blessings, she begins solemnly. However, today, in sad company, we gather to share the burden of our grief. Fluorescent was born on Earth, but she is more than many of us exemplified the spirit of our endeavor to bring life beyond the stars. She bore life not only in her body by bringing it forth from the ground she so faithfully attended. The debt we owe her is the kind that can never be repaid. It is with deep, unbearable grief that we must continue on without her in awe and respect for her sacrifice, the depth of which was never expected of her, but which she did not expect of anyone else. It's on her strong shoulders that she carries us still. If I'd have helped my mother, would I have been there when she died? Ugh. Etiquette closes the door to the recycler, and the particle disintegrators begin to reclaim the molecules that once formed your mother. Your father squeezes your shoulder, making a small, choked-off noise of pain. As a community, we remember Fluorescent. As a community, we return her body to the soil that nourishes us. In this way, her sacrifice is recognized in the manifest body of the colony. Your father is the new head of geophonics. In a few hours, he receives your mother's remains so that he can add them to the colony's precious supply of brown soil from Earth. You touch the cool lid of the container, marveling that your mother could fit in such a small box. You don't have to be okay, your dad says quietly, his voice thick with emotion. I know I'm not. I have to keep going where she left off, but if you can, you should take some time off. I can't help but feel like my choices let my mom die, because like I worked really, really hard to try to cure my dad. And then like I was just like, yeah, mom is fine, and it's her choices. The prospect of going back to work like everything is normal is too much to handle. The sun dips below the horizon and glow begins. You end up spending the whole month alternating between sleeping and scrolling the holonet. A few days after the funeral, surveyors return with an unexpected bounty of the Valley of Vertigo. It's enough to survive for another month until the new year, maybe, if you keep rationing. The colony will continue to limp along, but without your mother, the roar wakes you. It would wake the dead. It shakes the walls, rumbles through the ship's hull, and makes your heart skip a beat. You're paralyzed by a sudden clench of fear in your gut. Through your porthole window, you hear the metal screeching and people shouting, then another roll, guttural and rumbling like the sound of a mountain collapsing. Something enormous is out there. You don't know what gives you the courage, but you run out to the fields in the horrible face-to-face of... What the fuck? It has no face. Look at its hoof. In the place of a face or even a head, its body just unzips, revealing a mass of writhing pig tentacles and blinking eyes, pocketed with jagged, asymmetrical teeth. It stands on four enormously powerful legs, each as wide across as tree trunks, clinging to its back and its thick slug-like tail are clumps of lichen that grow faintly in the night. The creature is nearly twice the size of the height of the greenhouse. It's standing on top of a flattened one, the wreckage of lattice and plants all around. Flickers of light from the plastic filters and stun clubs light beneath it, and the stench of ozone is thick in the air. You see A-Money and her brother Calm darting in around its legs with their twin shocks of red hair. The faceless creature lurches into another greenhouse, oblivious of the soldiers trying to herd it away. The monster left a trail of destruction from where it smashed through the walls. Smaller creatures are pouring through the gap and they're heading straight for command. You watch helplessly as the hordes of animals swarm command, sneaking through torn away panels and smashing through windows. It's too far away to hear the screams, but Governor Etiquette is in there. You have to do something. I don't give a shit about Governor Etiquette. I'm gonna help A-Money and Calm. As you run towards Geophonics, picking up a handful of rocks, as you cross through the barren fields, when Calm sees you, he gestures for you to flee. Get out of here, Solana, he says. You're gonna get yourself killed. You grip your rocks, hard in defiance. You're sick of being told to hide like a child. You want to help. Oof, it's gonna be hard. My heart is broken and I'm starving. But I am a ballsy ass bitch. How did that become 7? Three, 4, 6. Okay. I done it. I did it. That was close. That was very spicy. You try your hardest, but even with the full force of the dense squad, you can barely keep it contained near the farms. You dart in and around the battle, throwing rocks and making noise to keep the abomination's attention away from the rest of the colony. Its tentacles whip around, snapping the ground and knocking into people, picking them up and throwing their helpless bodies like dolls, only to be crushed under its massive tree trunk feet. The fields are littered with bodies of the fallen. Sweat stings your eyes, but somehow you stay on your feet. Others are not so lucky. Solana, watch out! Calm cries out, and you look just in time to dodge a wet slab of tentacle tripping over a body and sprawling to the dirt yourself. The faceless makes a horrible noise from deep inside its craw, flecking you with spittle as their guts liquefy from the near miss. You're close enough to feel the sick heat radiating off of it. It doesn't have a face, but you realize with horror that it sees you. The beam of plasma fire arcs over your head, and the faceless roars again and turns its terrible attention to Calm. You scream and uselessly cover your head as it lumbers over you. As you scramble to your feet, you see Calm go flying through the air. He lands a few feet away with a sickening wet crunch. A-Money cries in horror as she runs to Calm's side, but it's too late. His body is bent at an unnatural angle, his eyes open, and his face frozen in stupefied terror. He looks unreal, like a wax mannequin. He's just gone, just like that. Anemone lets out a primal scream of pain. Ah! You can see a thought ignite in her mind, contorting her face with the ugly fury as she stands as herself to see the faceless again. You grab her arm and she yells at you in wordless rage before collapsing to her knees, throwing her body over Calm's and sobbing like the scared teenager she is. You hear a colossal cracking noise and look up to see the faceless stumble towards the stratospheric. With a roar that shakes your very molecules, it loosens its balance for the last time and falls onto the ship. Metal screams as the ship buckles and gives way. Whole pieces of the quarter's wings shear off as your home rips open like a tin can, spilling its contents into the square. The strato lurches and collapses under the creature's weight. The abomination is slain, but as wails of grief join the whimpers of dying, you have to wonder, at what cost? The council calls an all-colony meeting to face the aftermath of the attack. The oppressive gloom of the glow. You gather near engineering with the other survivors. It's one of the few buildings still standing. The corpses of the faceless still sit in the caved-in wreckage of the stratospheric, spilling its flaccid pig tentacles and its horrible zipper-toothed maw. It's already beginning to stink. Your mind keeps replaying the terrible moment, the faceless rearing up and obscuring the sky. An enemy and her brother looking so small before it. Governor Etiquette was killed by the smaller creatures that swarmed command during the attack. In her absence, Seek addresses the colony. The council acknowledges the bravery of the defense squad, citing their heroism in finally taking down the faceless. Geophonics is gone, the greenhouse is destroyed, the fields trampled. After a year of suffering, starving, and only barely scraping by, you're not just back to where you started, it's worse. Everything your mom sacrificed herself for is gone in the night. The entire front half of the stratospheric has been destroyed. The living quarters, the canteen, the garrison, the lounge, even the creche, it's all gone. It's only by some stroke of luck that the people hiding in the creche weren't all killed. Seek solemnly reads the names of those who were lost, too many, including Governor Etiquette. You all stand for a moment of silence and feel the weight, like a loss of the blow in your chest. An enemy and her family cry out when her brother Calm's name is called, and their quiet sobbing continues through the silence. With the living quarters destroyed, everyone moves into engineering wing for shelter. You're crowded in the classroom with other families. Adults try to make it seem like a sleepover, but you're still so shaken. An enemy cries out about her brother and screams at anyone who tries to comfort her. Eventually, you ignore her grief, as painful as it is to hear her sobbing. You feel like you've been awake for days and you'll never fully sleep again. You try, but you keep jerking awake, crying out in fear. Eventually, you fall asleep sitting up, held in your father's arms. Your sleep is fitful but mercifully dreamless. Well, what a big fucking bummer. Everything is gone. Fuck. I have no choices. Just science. Engineering is crammed with families and what belongings they've salvaged from the destroyed living quarters. You could spend your time in the crowded temporary lodging classroom or help the adults try to fix things. I will help rebuild. The first month of the quiet passes, each day plodding one after the other. You still have trouble sleeping in the classroom barracks, but there's nowhere else to go. Every day you wake with the others and try to make the best of it. Grief and anger come in waves, not just for you, but for everyone. Some days are better than others. You're assigned to help rebuild the walls. The first part of the month is spent dragging away the wreckage, sorting it into salvage or recycling. By the time that's done, crews disassembling parts of the stratospheric have delivered enough salvage that you can begin patching up the walls. A sense of urgency permeates the crew. Everything. The people need to feel safe. When there's literal giant monsters, Dis is on the work crew with you, something he does begrudgingly. The walls didn't help the first time. I literally just said that. He grumbles. Whatever anyone asks for his opinion. You should all just tear them all down and live like the animals do. If someone planted a bunch of buildings on my land, I'd be pissed too. I'm gonna work hard anyway. By the end of the month, you've made a noticeable progress. There are other priorities and not a lot of construction material, but when last year's mushwood harvest is done drying out, you'll be able to do more. Even if Dis is right that it didn't help the first time, it's better than nothing. The suns finally dawn again on your birthday. You wake early and climb to the top of engineering to watch the first sun's watery rays break through the horizon as the wormhole recedes through the sky. Oh shit, are we 15? Oh, dang! Dawn should represent hope after a long period of darkness, but the light only reveals the full extent of the damage to the colony. You've been having trouble sleeping like most people. It's hard to find rest crammed into a classroom. You shake your head to clear the memories. You pull your blanket more tightly around your shoulders. Not your blanket, that one's gone. And you stare out as the sun rises in the horizon, meager and sickly. Hey, kiddo, you hear when your dad comes and sits down beside you. I was looking for you. Nice view, huh? At least we got a rooftop patio out of the deal. He laughs a little at his own joke and then sort of trails off with a sigh afterward. He puts his arm around your shoulders and you sit in silence for a while, watching the sunrise pick out all the broken glass littering the fields, glimmering like a field of stars. Neither of you really know what to say. It's clear your dad feels like he has to give you a pep talk, but there's an oppressive nature to the silence that makes it feel impossible for either of you to start. Eventually, he sighs and shoulders slump. I know things seem pretty bad right now, he says, squinting into the sunrise. It sounds like he's talking all of his effort not to cry. But it'll get better. It has to, right? We're not so sure. At least your mom wasn't here to see this. That's the silver lining, I guess. Jesus, Dad. You watch the sunrise together for a few more minutes. After a bit, your dad musters up a brave smile and pulls out a little box tied with a piece of gardening twine. Happy birthday, my little rutabaga, he says. You know what it is before you open it, your old medallion, the one your dad made with the sun on it to represent Earth. It was broken during the attack. In all the chaos you didn't even notice, but your dad did, and he made you a new one. It's just like you remembered, a similar design with a wormhole this time to represent Vertuma. You thank him and squint out at the swirling wormhole still barely visible in the brightening sky. It's so massive and awe-inspiring this time of the year it seems to herald disaster. You're happy to watch it fade into the daylight. Your dad slaps you on the back. What a birthday, huh? Here's hoping they get better from here. You both head back downstairs to the wreckage of the canteen where they put up a temporary roofing with whatever tarps and scraps can be found. The colony nanoprinters, the few that still run, have been working day and night to replace the necessities of life, but larger construction projects take time. Aunt Anne has coaxed the kitchen nanoprinters into making soy gruel and pressed bars, life-sustaining but depressing. You and the other colonists eat your breakfast in stony silence. Chief Administrator Seek has taken over in the interim governor until the council can elect someone new. Last week they held a mass funeral for everyone who died. There's talk of turning the Stratospheric's destroyed front half into a memorial shrine after everything useful has been salvaged. There's still so much to do. Big yikes. More rebuilding, I guess. Wow, 15 years old. So great. Love this. You're assigned to help out in geophonics. The agriculturists have been hard at work trying to salvage what they can of the ruined fields and the destroyed greenhouses. There's still a lot of work to be done. Your dad has taken over as chief cultivator. Succeeding your mom was difficult for him, but now there's this. He's never been the kind of guy to shy away from hard work, but he's been distant lately. Cal's now working in geophonics too, of course. He smiles when he sees you. Hey, Solana. There are lots of stuff to do. What do you want to work on? Repair the greenhouses, work in the fields, or build the animal pens. I think we should repair the greenhouses. Well, I mean, we can't grow food anyway, but we should try. The geosonic domes, miraculous prefab modular structures your parents brought from Earth, are in shambles. Much of the glass and metal is beyond repair, designed for the recycler. You and Cal help clear away the debris, and when that's done, you help drape tarps over what's still standing so that the drifting spark snow doesn't pile up inside of the soil. Acidity. Anything that can't survive outside a climate-controlled greenhouse needs to be harvested and sent to the kitchens so it can be preserved. Canning, jarring, dehydration, ancient techniques you've learned about in school but didn't think you'd have to put into practice. Everyone is worried that this will be the final nail in the coffin of your food supply after the famine last year. You try not to think about it, instead focusing on what you can. You're eating in the mess tents when you hear something rumbling. Your bowl and cutlery start rattling. People look around in alarm. Another attack so soon? You hear shouting from outside. Someone runs. There's something falling from the sky, they shout. It's on fire. What? You join a crowd of people leaving your temporary structures to gather in the colony square. People are squinting into the milky, quiet sunlight, pointing and gesturing wildly. It's impossible to miss a thing hurtling towards you from space like a great big ball of fire coming straight at you. Is this it? Is this the end? After all you've been through, a meteor's gonna land in the middle of your already ruined colony and kill you. Another spaceship? What? Mars grabs your shoulder. It's another ship, she exclaims. Look, look, it's another spaceship from Earth. You stare up, unbelieving at the rapidly approaching ship. The flames of its entry into the atmosphere dissipate, but the thick column of greasy black smoke trails behind it. Soon you can hear the whistle of it ripping through the atmosphere at terminal velocity. That is not a controlled descent. It's an enormous ship coming at you way too fast. The ship's reverse thrusters fire, trying to slow it down so it doesn't smash into a billion pieces when it hits the planet. Isn't this exactly how we crashed? Everyone scatters to take over. You crouch behind some rocks and put your heads and close your eyes shut. You hear the massive spaceships touch down in geophonics, plowing through the fields and grinding over what was left of the greenhouses. You're thrown to the ground from the force of the impact as shrapnel and small rocks zing past your head. It grinds like some soaring monster, cutting a great scar through the colony and kicking up an enormous cloud of dust. Finally, the ship comes to a cracking, creaking, shattering halt. You and the other colonists carefully crawl out of your hiding places, coughing and rubbing your eyes. The new ship is half buried and obscured by dust, but you can tell it's from Earth. You squint and make out stenciled letters. Heliopause. A hatch opens and silhouettes begin to emerge. Silhouettes with guns. Soldiers march out of the dust and quickly surround all of the remaining colonists. More soldiers form two parallel lines from the ship to the square, their guns in parade. A lone figure strides down the center towards you. Fucking excuse me? Greetings, fugitives of Earth, the man says, spreading his hands wide. A dismayed murmur ripples through the crowds. The adults exchange significant looks. Chief Engineer Instance tries to slip out of the crowd, but she's stopped by the line of soldiers. A man smiles. He has a broad, easygoing smile that doesn't match the threatening aura, nor the smoking ruin of the ship. I'm Commander Loom, he says proudly. As captain of the Heliopause, I've come to render aid and bring you to justice. What? Teak steps forward out of the crowd. You're not the commander of the Heliopause, they say firmly. Governor Etiquette was expecting Commander Morikawa? Everyone is surprised. Etiquette had been in communication with the ship for how long? I am the captain of Heliopause, Loom repeats stubbornly, then adds, according to the chain of command, we, sustained significant loss of personnel when we went through the wormhole. You can't help but notice many of the soldiers exchange looks. You wonder how many people had to die before Loom became commander. Ew. He's got his titties hanging out and everything. As a commanding officer, Loom continues, I declare this colony under our protection. As such, you are all now subject to the laws of Earth. Seek bows. Now, they stammer. There's no need for dramatics. We're a diminished colony, as you see. Governor Etiquette died in the most recent attack, and Fluorescent passed away a few months ago. Even technician Haliosis is gone. You see, we're quite leaderless. Wait, your mom? What would these Earth cops have wanted from your mom? You notice Chief Engineer Instance is being held with her arms behind her back. She glowers at Loom with unbridled hatred. Loom turns to the assembled colonists. Well, why don't we fix that, he declares. Say hello to your new governor. You hear a few gasps and shock and outrage. Loom raises his hands placatingly. Let's not pretend you don't need our help, and we could simply arrest you instead. There's no need to demoralize your little colony further. Well, we really don't have a choice. You track down your friends. So, what do you think about these new people? Mars asks. I love how I'm like super friends with everyone except for Mars. There's the O I was looking forward to. Dang. I'm not glad they're here to save us. And I'm also not excited to make new friends. He's just going to be a dick. They're just going to boss us around. Tangent nods. They don't live here. They don't know what it's like. And they're just going to swoop in and act like they're better than us. She hugs her arm around herself. Do you see what they were doing to Instance? The entire colony, now twice as many of you, set to work on salvaging the wreckage of the heliopause, tearing it down and combining it with the Stratospheric's remaining engine section. Spirits are high. These new colonists from the heliopause aren't like people you've met before. Their uniforms and weapons are more like an invading force than a rescue. As the dust settles, you rebuild your colony around this new ship, the heliopause. The new arrivals, soldiers mainly, are aloof at first, and they see you as fugitives. Together you rebuild new walls, living quarters, greenhouses, and a massive bunkered garrison. The Stratos engineering wing is the only remainder of your old colony. The heliopause brought enough rations for another 5 years, as well as rich seed bank and working hydroponics. Finally, an end to the slow starvation you felt for years. They have more guns and explosives you've ever seen in your life. Even the ship has guns. A full stomach and roof over your heads and the promise of safety convinces most Strato colonists to accept Helios. In turn, the Helios decide that you criminals pose little threat. A begrudging peace is brokered between the two groups. You decide they aren't so different, really. There are Helio children born amongst the stars just like you. Oh my god, do we get new friends? Oh my god, look at my beautiful new bedroom! After a month of hard work, you and your dad move into your new quarters, and you have your own bedroom for the first time in your life. You place a picture of your mother on the shelves beside your bed. You step out into your very own balcony to watch the new colony. It's growing, bustling with so many strangers and new ideas. You feel something rising in your chest you haven't felt in some time. Hope? Excitement? What will the day bring? You better get out there and find out. Fuck that. Yeah, we're hopeful. Let's rush out and greet the damn day. The colony looks so different. Oh my god, new friends! Holy shit. Oh my god, this new colony is massive. Good thing I still have Squish. Where's my dad? There's Tangent and Engineering. fresh. Oh my god, she's adorable. You've seen Nami Nami around since the heliopause landed. They're around your age and barely 1.5 meters tall, only coming up to your shoulder. You've never seen anyone dress as strangely as they do. I think she's beautiful. Hi! Their voice is high pitched and quick. I'm Nami Nami. Just sort for nomination. They do a little twirl and bow. You introduce yourself. Ask about their outfit, their gender, ask about what they do for fun. The first two don't matter to me. Well, Nami Nami begins, kind of a bit of everything. I like designing outfits and reading manga and learning about dinosaurs and cool xenofauna and robots and aliens and watching anime and playing Laser Fable, of course. Most lately I play Laser Fable. It's so fun to play outside in the great big endless outdoors. Nami Nami dances in a circle, waving their arms and gesturing at your surroundings. Get Nami Nami to calm down, challenge them to a game, politely extricate yourself. Fuck it, I'll play. You're on. Nami Nami helps you install it on your holopalm and explains the rules. Laser Fable is an augmented reality game where you bounce holographic lasers off of real objects. Nice. This counts as combat. Victorious. Right on, sister. Nami gives you a high five and a couple quick flicks on their gauntlet gives you a kudos for winning. They explain this is how they always play Laser Fable with the kids from the Heliosphere. Except they mostly don't want to play anymore. They say they're too old for it. They just want to be soldiers now, except Rex. He's still cool. Alright, cool. Where the fudge is Rex? Is it this kiddo? The colony is full of new people. Everywhere you look, you see a stranger. Oh my god, he's adorable. You bump straight into one of these new people while jogging through the colony. Oof, he laughs and holds you steady, brushing the imaginary dust off you and giving you a wide-fanged smile. Hey, it's one of the kids from Heliopause. You think this is Rex? Amazing. You stick your hand out and shake his, and he laughs. You notice he's wiggling his dog ears. They can really move independently. Pleased to meet ya, he says. I'm Rex. I love to shake a paw. I know tons of tricks, he winks. Rex puts his hand against his cheek, looking cute and lost. Hey, since I'm new here, do you think you could help me find the construction yard? I thought I might apply for a job there. For you, anything. Flirt with Rex. Wasting no time, Solana. Dang. Oh my goodness. I think he's flirting with me. Hey, I have a very important question. Uh-huh. There's only so much time you can waste. You only have a few more years. How many times has the game reminded you that Tammy's dead? Twice. Today. But total, I'm not sure. Oh, it's decreasing. Yeah, that's because everyone else is dead. Too many people to mourn. Yeah. All right, are we gonna flirt with Rex? I might flirt with Rex. Feels really low stakes. And also, but some of the funerals are like, just like Tammy. Rex is a good boy. His eyes widen as you wink suggestively, and he grins, wiggling his ears and lolling his tongue out like a dog. So adorable. I might take you up on that, he says. You tell him everything is a bit changed since the holopods landed, but you think the construction yard is still near command. He thanks you for the directions. Ugh, I'm gonna kiss that little wolf boy's face. I know it. Alright. We were adventuring. Oh, Dis. Daddy! Just the man I was looking for. Even though it hurts, you find yourself wandering over to geophonics. It feels not good to be here, in the place your mom loved and ultimately gave her life to. But it's not good either. It feels like when you have a bruise and you can't stop yourself from pushing on it because the pain reminds you the injury is real. Like your mom dying is a huge invisible wound and poking at it forces you to feel something. Your dad is taking time off work. Your parents worked double and triple shifts during the growing season this year, and now that it's over, it feels so cruel. When people work hard, they should be able to look back on what they did and feel proud. Instead, there's this huge gap where your mom should be. You find your dad sitting in your mom's personal garden. It's miraculously starting to grow again despite being trampled flat during the last attack and neglected during the famine before that. Still, various vitumen flowers are starting to sprout as well as the hardier earth ones like dandelions. Your dad looks up and musters a smile. He pats the bench beside him. Your dad is good at sitting in silence. He holds your hand and you sit together watching the bugs flit around the garden. Eventually he starts to hum. You recognize the song, an old favorite of theirs, one they used to play after dinner when they would sit and talk for hours about the future they envisioned. You remember sitting at their feet and playing with your blocks, letting your weird adult words wash over you. They had so many plans. You think about your mom and how much she sacrificed for a future she'll never see. Your dad puts an arm around your shoulders and you sit like that for a long, long while. Hello, my little tomato. Your dad's voice rings out across the fields, hale and hearty. You don't have it in yourself to be embarrassed. You're not during pollen, not with the memory of him struggling to breathe still fresh in your mind. Are you coming to check on your old man? He teases, takes a deep breath, holds it, and lets it out comfortably. I'm doing great. No congestion, no sneezing, and I definitely don't want to take a hide outside the walls. Your dad pulls you into a big hug, ruffling your hair. He smells like sunshine and dirt and sweat, and you've never been happier to breathe it all in. He's alive. I'm proud of you, he says quietly. You pull off miracles, kiddo. Yeah, shame I let Mom kill herself. The new boy from Helisphere is a couple years older than you. He's very handsome, and the missing arm gives him a heroic battle-scarred vibe. Didn't notice. He stands tall and ready for action, even though it's a normal, boring day. The other recruits milling around the garrison give him a wide, respectful berth. He sees you staring and gives you a curt nod. My name is Vase, Lieutenant Olivacious, he says, considering you with a glint of challenge in his eye. And you are? How do you introduce yourself? I just want to have some fun before I die. Um, I do practically run this place. But I'm not going to say that to him now that we are invaded. His expression doesn't change. Is that right? He says with an air of a boy who's hard to impress. Nice to meet you, Solana. I hear it's been a rough couple of years for the colony. Lucky thing our heliopause came along just in time. He continues. Don't worry. We have some of the best soldiers, the very best. They'll keep the colony safe. Are you one of those best soldiers? We train as a team, but he clears his throat. Yes, I've won more than my fair share of zero-G judo matches and virtual riflery tournaments, even competing against adults, he adds. God, this guy's a douche. I don't want to flirt with Vase. I bet I could take him. I'm going to fight him. What would A Money do? He says doubtfully. Well, you're welcome to try. I hope to see you at the self-defense classes. What a wiener. The living quarters. The new common area is hastily constructed platform clinging to the side of the heliopause. Crews are hard at work incorporating the rigid hull into the natural landscape, creating a charming open-air place for gathering, eating, and relaxing. It's very pretty. Just outside, you hear the construction happening on the living quarters from both ships. Engineering is exactly the same. That's where I met Squish. Okay. Command looks exactly the same. Colony food supplies 10%. Security rating 50%. Interesting. Nami, on the other hand, is light and joy. Nami's great. This is the same. It's weird though because there was clearly some tension between her and that other guy. And they heavily implied that my mother had participated in some sort of rebellion or some shit. Geophonics is abuzz with activity. Repairs to the domes are underway and fields are being replanted. The hydroponics and the heliopause are being installed. I never got to work on the farm with my mom. I literally unlocked it and she died. God, that sucks. The garrison. Helios have replaced the old garrison dojo with a huge underground bunker. Look at that monster. It's much larger and better supplied, abuzz with activity. Soldiers drilling, weapons being cleaned and inventoried, and animals herded into cages for study. You can't believe how many soldiers are down here. It must be the safest place on the planet. So defense training will now get me a friendship with Vase, which I don't give a shit about at all. You can't do that though. Remember, the dirt is recycled. I do not think too much about the dirt. Rude. All my friends and family are there. They are the dirt. We are the dirt. +2 organizing, +1 perception. My organizing is really bad. It's just trying to bury your emotions in a particular pit of dirt seems a little futile. Yeah. Oh no, poor little robot. He's broken. Scuttling of metallic legs. What the heck? A strange knee-high robot bursts into engineering, going full tilt on its spidery legs. It slams into the wall, knock itself down. It's having trouble. Smash it before it hurts someone, put it back out in the hall. I wish I could fix it. Engineering 50 or higher? Jesus. Ouch! It accidentally slashes you in the leg while scrambling to find purchase. Stupid robot can crew its TV thing wheels its squeakily as the robot runs down the hall. Sorry about that, she chirps. So close to getting its movement algorithm online, I'll have some RoboVax in here and we can try again. Working with robots is just so much harder with no hands, she continues, wheeling back and forth to display frustration. It's much easier when Hal was here. I miss him. Yeah, me fucking too, congruence. Jesus. I see no reason not to study humanities again. Get my persuasion up. Today we will be practicing our handwriting, she announces. Great. But congruence, Tangent whines. Why would we ever need to write by hand when we have holopalms? This exercise will be part of a history lesson, part skill. In the future, you may not always have access to holopalm technology. So first, how to correctly hold a pencil. Oh god. Tange is suffering the worst. Aww. Ha! Mars laughs. Looks like we finally found something Tange isn't good at. Look, she keeps mixing up her lowercase a's and e's. Tange is used to using a stylus with her holopalm, but she's never actually drawn the letters. Oh no. Mars, on the other hand, has lovely penmanship. She can even write in cursive. My papa taught me when I was little, she says, showing off the paper. Cultured people know how to write for real. Let me help you, Tangent. I don't need your help, Tange sneers. She hates being bad at something and being patronized even worse. I wasn't patronizing her. Just let me do it myself, she grumbles, balling up her fist of paper and tossing it into the air. Mars laughs, but after a few minutes of tense silence, she looks over at Tange's work. You're pressing too hard, Mars tells her softly. Loosen your grip. It's different from typing in the air with a stylus. Why does Mars get to help her and I don't? Oh, wait, are they crushing on each other? Oh, shit. Oh, I still have the stupid sun medallion, not the new one my dad made me, dang it. I've never lost a heart with a character before, so there goes my fucking friendship with Tangent, I guess. Ugh, you guys have got the shimmer, damn. Woo! Thank you. Why the fuck is Mars here? You're headed off to lunch break when you see Mars and Tange sitting together in the break room. Tange is eating a sandwich and scrolling through a holopalm, and Mars is half collapsed on the table, barely holding her head up on her hand as she pouts at Tange. Come on, she whines. You said we were going to hang out after lunch. Aren't you done eating yet? Tange takes a slow, deliberate bite of her sandwich and chews while making eye contact with Mars. It goes from funny to awkward to hilarious as Mars' face falls and she puts her head on the table and groans. Proper mastication is important for digestive health, Tange answers primly, a smile curling the corner of her mouth. You can masticate in private, Mars mutters. What are you reading, and how is it more important than me, your best and only friend on the planet? Just something for work, Tange answers. It's really interesting. I didn't know Dr. Instance was so well published, even though she was only 25 when the Strato left Earth. She's practically a prodigy like me. Ugh. She looks at her holo screen again. It's absolutely fascinating. We're so lucky to have such accomplished researcher down here on Venturma. You take a seat at the table and sneak a look at Tange's screen. You catch a few words. Cheese Louise, tissue, tropism, RNA, protein cheese, intrinsic immunity. Something to do with viruses? From the pictures, possibly fungi. Tange notices you and shuts off her holopalm, scowling at you. I want to learn about macrophages. Tange looks startled, but please, she turns her holopalm back on and sits so you can read along. It's dense but interesting and definitely about viruses that affect fungi. I didn't know you were interested in Instance's older work as well, Solana, Tange says. Perhaps we could work together to parse the next session. It's particularly challenging. OMG, nerds, Mars laughs. Look at you two eggheads. Better you than me. You've been eating for like a half an hour, Tange. Come on. Mars pulls her hands down her face. Please, can we go do something fun before the rampaging Xeno eats us? We're both too pretty to die of boredom. Tange smiles. You think I'm pretty, Mars? Mars sets her hand on top of Tange's. The prettiest, she swears, her other hand over her heart. Even prettier than me. Oh my god. Tange says, putting her hand on top of Mars's hand and leaning in to fix Mars with an unusually flirtatious expression. Yes, do tell me about all of my great beauty, she deadpans. It's all I live for. Mars laughs and tosses her hair over her shoulder, and you tune them out in favor of eating your lunch before you expected back in engineering. Ah! Awkward. Oh, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Well, shit. Oh. Tangent looks up from her holopalm, blinking as her eyes refocus in the middle. Look, this background is the old engineering background. She almost didn't recognize you when you first saw her. You wonder what caused the lab accident or something. Her hair's been gone for a long time. Hello, Solana, she says, cagey. Did you need something? I just came by to say hello. The faintest hint of relief passes across her face. You get the impression that not pressing her on her personal appearance was a wise choice. Yeah, who fucking cares? I noticed it, and I was sad. Oh, well, hello then, she replies and raises her hand as if to push her hair out of her face, but then stops when she realizes what she's doing. Rather busy at the moment, if you don't mind. You take the hint. Fucking weird. Just the person I was hoping to see. Your dad jogs over with a sunny smile. Hey, you want to get your hands dirty? Well, more dirty? The survey teams are bringing in a ton of animals we're working on domesticating, and we could use your help. You already know your way around a shovel, so I figured you wouldn't mind stopping by sometime and giving your old man a hand. Cal's helping out too, so you have a friend to work with. If you happen to be about in the surveying teams, keep an eye out for more animals to bring home. Nice. Where the fuck did Mars go? I do want to go see what the animals are up to. I want to increase my humanities, but animals sounds more fun. And also, I like Cal more than Tangent. You meet your dad by the animal pens, fresh and ready for your first day at your new job. Your dad laughs at your clean clothes and your scrubbed face. Oh, Pumpkin, I'm sorry to tell you that you're a little overdressed for the position, he chuckles. You're gonna get dirtier and heck today. Go on, put on these overalls and get to work. Yee, cow. You change and follow your dad to the float cow pens. He rubs their noses and points out their names. I know they're cute, but these ladies aren't pets, he says. They're livestock, and more than that, they're not really domesticated like animals back on Earth. They're tame. We give all the animals lots of room to roam, and we feed them well. They're not going to get chased down and get eaten by bigger animals, and we can help them if they're sick. It's a pretty good deal, I think. They're still pretty wild, so you gotta be careful with them. We were pretty lucky that Fortuna has herd animals. Makes it a little easier. We'll probably have real domestic animals in only a couple hundred years. Well, kiddo, we've got all these animals. What do you want to learn about first? Bristlebugs, float cows, sugar bugs, trippids. I'm gonna say float cows. I know a lot about them already, but let's learn more. Your dad gestures to the herd of float cows. They are beautiful, aren't they? And pretty gross. You don't want to know where they make their milk, but I'll give you a hint. It's not dairy. He laughs at your wrinkled nose. It's not any weirder than when people used to drink cow's milk. I mean, who's the first guy who decided to do that? They figured out if we don't keep feeding them that they'd be eating during pollen, and they keep making milk year round. Oh. It makes them heavy enough that they don't float away. Otherwise, you'd have to keep them on leads like balloons. Oh my sweet Jesus, this bristlebug is so fucking cute. Oh yeah, we've got a ton of them, he says. They're great, slow and easy to catch and real gentle. Don't let the spikes fool you. They're actually really cuddly, and they don't mind it when you pet them. It actually helps them. In the wild, they'd be scratching up on all sorts of things to knock off those itchy berries. Oh my god, they're so cute. He scrunches up his nose. They're not really berries, they're more like eggs. Well, they're like berries though because they're sweet, and you know what? Never mind. Vertumen animals are pretty weird. Oh my god, we eat the berries off the bristle otter thing. Sugar bugs! Your dad takes you to the row of crates where the soft, squishy sugar bugs are clumped together in the moist muck. These guys are pretty cool. They're a colony just like us, and if you tickle them, you get. He brushes his finger along the top of a sugar bug, and a little jet of gooey stuff comes out. Sugar bug syrup, he says. Pretty neat, right? Gross. Oh, this is the worst. What's a trippet? No joke, we thought these were plants for the first couple of years. We transplanted them from the wild into the greenhouses, but that was just part of their life cycle because it turns out they're sentient and move around and stuff. We moved them out of the greenhouses into the barns, but we don't really treat them any differently. They still just mostly sit there. What the fuck? Ugh. The Ventunmalia Festival! It is a welcome day of normalcy in an otherwise chaotic year. Despite lingering rivalry between the two factions, Ventunmalia is a chance for Helios and Stratos to come together and appreciate the bounty of the planet. At least that's what the adults are saying. As Governor Loom takes the stage to address the colony, you can't help but notice the crowd has segregated Skelf according to their ship of origin. Rex shoots you away from over the Stratos side, and Nomi makes a silly face. Vass is surrounded by other young shoulders, all looking sharp in their Heliopause uniforms. With Tangent standing beside you, you wonder if the two ships will ever feel like one colony. Not with this douche as the leader. Greetings, people of Ventunmalia, Loom says, his voice ringing out over the square. We may be from our far beautiful Earth, but we still celebrate and be thankful for what we have here. We've worked hard to save this beguiled little colony from the brink of destruction, and should be proud of our work. I know some of you have been asking Loom, how are you going to do it all by yourself? How are you going to run the colony, solve everyone's problems, turn this planet into a paradise, and look this good? He strikes a pose and a smattering of polite applause. I have the answer for you. The old council has made a lot of bad choices, like illegally leaving Earth. But I believe in second chances, so I've appointed the original counterpart heads to my own council, Loom's 2.0 council. Better not disappoint me, he laughs and makes finger guns at the department heads at the foot of his podium. What the fuck? I also want to promise everyone here today that we're going to make Venturne safe for humans. The next time those bastard Xenos attack, we're going to blow them so many little pieces there won't be enough left to wipe off our boots. We've already got the defenses, he says, gesturing broadly to the new, taller, thicker walls. And we're building homes for everyone, homes where people can raise their children again, knowing that our military men and women are keeping us safe. Okay. Big cheers from both sides this time. Some of the colonists around you even have tears in their eyes, especially those who's lost family in the attack. Loom goes on for a while, lionizing the Heliopause's military strength while casting subtle digs at your failed colony experiment. Blah, 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 blah. Look at my friends. At the tables, Auntie Anne and the kids are settling out a spread for dinner. There's an unimaginable amount of food thanks to Heliopause's huge ration surplus and the piles upon piles of xeno meat from the hunting parties, for those who can stomach it. Anna's all smiles, clearly making an effort to move on as Loom mandated, despite mourning the loss of her son, Calm. But even as the festive atmosphere can force a smile onto A-Money's face. Shit. Look at how pissed she is. I mean, I understand why we would be celebrating, but this guy fucking blows. Who do these guys think they are, right? Mars exclaims. This loom guy is a tool. Did you hear what he said about us? How crass. Like, have some respect. Dis arrives carrying a big turn of stew, and now they're just taking over, and everybody's okay with this? The adults are bigger cowards than I thought. Mars and Dis look in shock as they agree on something for once. The chime sounds to announce that the square is set up for the annual competitions. What do we choose this year? Xeno wrangling or trivia? We've never done trivia before. I mean, technically, we've never done Xeno wrangling either. Let's give it a go. I don't know. Why is it so hard sometimes? Okay, let's do Xeno wrangling. Without calm to run the obstacle course, the physical competition has been replaced by a float cow rodeo. The bulls have had their fuck, I regret this. Their air bladders emptied and weights attached to the gray money joins the rodeo. Fuck, I cannot do this. This is cruel, Cow shouts from the sidelines. Float cows are friends, not foes. He throws a ripe potato at the participants. It lands at your feet, but the three of you are splattered with juice. Vance takes a few steps toward Cal and his fists raised, but Cal disappears in the crowd. What the fuck? How was I supposed to know? I should have done the damn trivia challenge. Damn it. An enemy fights hard, but you're the champ. You get a lasso around the ornery bull's neck and haul yourself onto its woolly back. Its powerful grasshopper legs bounce you around the ring, and you manage to hold on and wrestle it down into the dirt. The crowd cheers so loud you can barely hear the folk cow beating in discomfort. I'm so sad. I don't want to hurt the cow. Yeehaw! Chief Surveyor Utopia cheers from the stands. Amoni looks disappointed and Vance looks angry. Your performance has definitely put you on his radar for his competition. I hated that. I never want to upset Cal ever again. Doot. Alright. I am going to have to call it a night. I'm like literally sinking down in my chair. Ugh, but I had a lovely time. I hope you had a really good birthday, Mr. Max Flint P.I. You did? Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate you being here. You almost got to watch such a dramatic year. Is this the dramatic one? I cannot handle any more drama. We're halfway through age 15. We did age 14, and that was the drama enough. Wasn't it? There's more? Oh, that was the dramatic year, you mean. Okay. You still need to see the ending of this year? I can't. I can't. This game punches too hard. My feelings. I still haven't recovered from the fact that we can flirt with our friends now. And then the death of my mother. And the loss of our colony and the immediate rescuing of our colony. It's crazy. No, no, the end of the game. It can also be very dramatic. Oh, Jesus. How many more years do we have? Is it at the end of 15? End of 19 is when the game... Dude, we weren't even halfway. Wow. Oh, yikes. Alright, friends. Well, we will do more Exocolonist next Monday. Ah, good night, my friends. Mwah, mwah, mwah.